Hello and welcome, it's Who Time. And this time we're talking about B&M. So, rumours are, the rumblings are that there'll be some new B&M Doctor Who figure sets coming out potentially as early as January 2020. So I thought now would be a good time to run through my ideas. So far in the B&M range we've seen a lot of repaints and re-releases down the years, but as time went on the range started to evolve, and they started to release sets where they used figures with parts from originally from other figures. And a good example of this is the Talons of Wen Chiang version of the Fourth Doctor, where they've incorporated the Pertwee cloak and body and used a Fourth Doctor head, and then repainted the colours. In the same set, they also used a Series 1 Captain Jack Harkness body to do the Brigadier and the Auton as well. And then you also have the introduction of even new sculpts and new parts. And the first example of that would be in the 2019 sets, where we got new head sculpts, which allowed us to have Group Marshal Stike and Harry Sullivan. Who would have thought? So with this in mind, I've created my own list of figures that I think that are doable, with a few tweaks, or potentially just a new head sculpt or new hand sculpt even here and there. So starting off, I'd like to go with a figure I'm sure that is much sought after, a Sarah Jane Smith from the classic series. Where is she? Well, I think using the existing Sarah Jane Smith Adventures 5-inch figures, we could work out a classic version. So using the version of her in the coat and the boots, she's got the hood as well, I feel like you could turn that into a Sontaran experiment version of her when she's wearing the yellow anorak and yellow waterproof trousers and the red shoes. I think that version is doable out of that. Potentially with a new head sculpt, and for greater accuracy if possible, potentially using the Series 4 Donna Noble, using her legs as part of that, so that would work, and just repaint. Similarly, you could use the other Sarah Jane Smith where she's wearing a jacket and jeans. You could repaint that to a version of Sarah Jane as seen in Genesis the Daleks, where she's got that sort of army camouflage thing going on with the top and her trousers. I think that was also in Revenge of the Cybermen as well. So that would be my first suggestion. Moving on, we've obviously got a very easy one here. This is an Earthshock Cyber Leader. You literally just take a standard Earthshock Cyberman, put some paint on the handlebars, and there you go. In a similar vein, they could do a Cyber Controller from Attack of the Cybermen. That would involve retooling the head to have a bump on the top, but I think that would be a good shout as well. Moving on from there, I feel you could do a Planet of Evil 4th Doctor. That is literally just using the Season 12 Doctor, 4th Doctor. You literally replace his waistcoat area, take that off, and then put in the Pyramids of Mars waistcoat thing and chuck it in there, and you've got a Planet of Evil 4th Doctor. Next on the list, I thought, what about another version of Perry? From Vengeance on Varos. I feel you could use her version, and with some new sculpting, create some new hands and a head of her when she's being metamorphosized into a furry creature. I feel that would be a cool variant. Another one that I think is doable is a standard Sontaran from the Invasion of Time. Now they've already released Store from that story. I've got him right here. Let's have a little peek. There he is. So all you need to do is use this exact body. Technically that wasn't on the standard ones, but hey ho. And then you just use one of the helmets and Steyr, and then you're done really. And they'll have to alter this slightly to get it on, but it's a very minor tweak to get it to work. Next on the list is something that I'm sure a lot of fans who collect the figures are wondering why hasn't been done yet, and that's a 7th Doctor with a solemn face and a hat. Now they've got the solemn face without a hat, and they've got the happy face with the hat. If you just retool it and then make a mould and do that, you're done. People are asking for it, and you see customs on eBay all the time. So I feel like that's a doable one. After that, Another one that's got a very small tweak. This is just an Ice Warrior from Seeds of Death. Now, this one, you simply just take an Ice Warrior that they've already released and you put a little gun on its arm. It's basically just a white tube, and then you're there. Right, this one's a bit more niche, and given the tooling and adjustment required, may not be economically viable, I don't know, but I'm a big fan of the Mask of Mandragora, and I like the character Hieronymus, and I feel he could be doable, may not be fully accurate, if you use a Series 5 Peter the Winder or Hawthorne figure, make it all purple, and then put a new head sculpt, or even just a face, and then stick it in somehow. Because those figures came with the hood. I feel that could be doable. We'll see. Next on the list, I've got the Master, but the Master as seen from Terror of the Autons. Now, in this case, it just requires the use of a James Lester figure from Primeval, the bloke in the suit with a striped tie, and literally just a repaint. So use the Roger Delgado head, pop it in, paint the suit and the tie. You've got him from Terror of the Autons. After that, one that has actually already kind of been released, that was it's designed to help raise money for a cancer charity, was a pink TARDIS, as seen in the Happiness Patrol. So they've already released the 7th Doctor TARDIS. There was a 2-pack of the 7th Doctor and the TARDIS. You simply take that TARDIS and paint it pink, and away we go. Next is one that I don't know if they can adjust at all, or at the very least re-release, is something that I'm sure a lot of fans have missed out on, including myself, who's not up there. It's an Anthony Ainley Master. And they released him in the version where he's Chameleon in the suit. It'd be nice to have him in his traditional suit, but I don't know how feasible that is. I don't know, I can't really see any other figures that quite fit that. But if they did that, that'd be amazing. Even just a re-release of that figure would be great. Next one, a 4th Doctor in his Time Lord attire, as seen in The Deadly Assassin. Now this, you just literally need that Series 4 Time Lord that released, and you plonk a Tom Baker head in there, and then adjust the paint colours. Next, Turlo, I think, is doable. Again, using that James Lester figure, with the tie and the suit. New head sculpt. We've got a Turlo, another companion. Given the recent run of 2019 with the Santarans, I just thought they could do Val from the 2 Doctors. Since they've released Stike, you just need to literally change the heads. We've had so many Santarans this year that they probably won't do that now, but it is doable in the future. One that I'd like, because I love the Pertwee era, God rest his soul, a war hero as well, look that up, he's great. A Primord from Inferno, the end of season 7. In this case, you can use a Richard Wilson figure from Series 1 when the show returned. Use that figure, it's got the white coat, and simply change the hands and the head into those beastly, werewolfy green type blokes, the Primords from Inferno. I think that's doable and would sell. That's a very popular story. After that, another very popular story, Robots of Death, or The Robots of Death, if we can pick Nickety. I feel there's one more figure. I think there's so many figures from that already, but I feel you could do, well, spoilers just now, in case you haven't seen it, but you could do a Dask/Taran Compel figure using the SV7 figure as a base, and then changing the head, and then maybe the hands. It'd just be nice, because that is arguably one of the best stories of Doctor Who, and I feel that's achievable. After that, we're going to go right down to the current iteration of Doctor Who with Series 11, and I feel we could fit in, using the existing figures, we could do a Kablam Postman. And in this case, it would need new hands and head, but for the body, you'd simply use the body of the Series 1 Captain Jack, also used for that Brigadier Auton, and just repaint. We do need more than just that. Just Jodie by herself on the shelf, so that would be a good start. One that I feel probably could just do with a re-release is The Silence from Series 6. but not the grey version, the peachy skin version. I think that's the better one. I've got two of those, one with the closed mouth and one with the open mouth and going ah. So I re-released that because that sold out uber quickly and they couldn't meet the demand, and it's still a very popular monster. Next one that's a bit more niche again, going niche, I'm going to go with something called the Borat from Timelash, a much maligned story, but got a very cool villain in it called the Borat. Here I feel you just literally need to use the Deadly Assassin Master with a slight tweak. He's in raggedy robes, and then you just change the hands, and then the head obviously is the main thing, and you have to remove the hooded part, but I think it's achievable. This guy did a custom of it, and I'll show you that here. Last but not least, going back to the new series, I feel one that's probably not sought after but doable, again using the body of the series 1 Captain Jack Harkness, or the body of a pig slave from the Daleks, the Manhattan Evolution of the Daleks 2-parter, is a Tritivore from Planet of the Dead. You just need to change the hands, then the head, repaint it. It may not be exactly perfect, but those guys wore overalls or shoes, and it was just the head and the hands that are the main thing. A cool addition. Why not? Do it. Right, we better take a pause there. Next time we'll talk about the prototypes they could potentially put in some B&M sets. So, I'll see you next time. Wait, what's that? No.